Welcome back to the Restricted Handling Daily Intel Brief. This is what's been going on in China in the past 24 hours. The most important new development is a coordinated attempt to create a basic rule for long-range missile testing. 41 governments have asked countries to provide at least 24 hours of advance notice before launching intercontinental ballistic missiles, submarine-launched ballistic missiles, or space launch vehicles. The statement followed China's July missile test into the Pacific. It does not ban testing, limit missile numbers, or create inspections. It asks for warning so that other governments do not mistake a test for the opening of an attack. That is a narrow proposal, but Beijing has rejected it as political manipulation. Chinese officials argue that Washington assembled a group to pressure China and turn a voluntary safety measure into an unequal strategic obligation. State-linked commentary has gone further, saying China does not need permission from a coalition led by its rivals to conduct lawful tests. This response shows how difficult even modest confidence building has become. A measure designed to reduce miscalculation is being judged through the larger contest over who gets to write the rules. China may worry that accepting this demand would validate a process built without it. Beijing may also want to preserve ambiguity around its test schedule and readiness. But refusal carries a diplomatic cost. The 41-country group now has a simple benchmark it can repeat after the next launch. Governments that do not support a broad containment strategy may still support advance notice because the safety argument is easy to understand. The next Chinese test will be revealing. Beijing could reject the coalition publicly, while quietly giving notice through another channel, or it could launch without warning and strengthen the coalition's case. Taiwan is meanwhile testing what happens when communications are degraded during a crisis. The latest Hongkong exercise briefly slowed mobile internet in Taipei to text-only speed. Streets were cleared during civil defense activity, and naval forces trained for a blockade scenario. The exercise is designed around a realistic problem. Taiwan cannot assume that high-speed civilian networks, normal traffic, and uninterrupted command systems will all survive the opening phase of a conflict. The communications slowdown was controlled and temporary, but it helps identify which public services and military functions depend on bandwidth that may disappear. Text messages can carry alerts and basic instructions while using less capacity. The naval component tested responses to an effort to isolate the island. Taiwan is also expanding the wartime role of its Coast Guard, which gives the government more ships and trained crews for surveillance, escort, and local defense without pretending those vessels can replace the Navy. Exercises like this have two effects. They improve resilience by exposing weaknesses before a real emergency. They also give China opportunities to observe mobilization patterns, timing, and procedures. Taiwan therefore has to repeat the drills while changing important details. A plan that works only when every participant knows the script will be fragile under attack. Taiwan has also disclosed more about an unusual cyber campaign detected in July. Officials say artificial intelligence helped the attackers conduct reconnaissance, find vulnerabilities, and adapt activity at an abnormal speed and scale. The campaign has been linked to China, although the exact sponsor and the degree of machine independence remain uncertain. The crucial issue is not whether a computer made every decision alone. It is whether automation shortened the time from finding a weakness to trying an exploit and allowed one team to pressure many targets at once. Taiwan is a natural testing ground because its government, communications systems, and critical infrastructure are under continuous pressure. Methods refined there can be reused elsewhere. Defenders now have to prepare for campaigns that produce many plausible variations, change faster, and consume more analyst attention. That raises the value of automated defense, strict access controls, and rehearsed recovery procedures. It also makes attribution harder because the volume and speed of activity can obscure the operator behind it. China's planned naval activity with Indonesia adds another layer around Taiwan. Jakarta describes the exercise east of the island as routine cooperation. Taipei calls the location dangerous. The immediate drill may be limited, but the precedent is important. China can make its presence near Taiwan look more ordinary when a regional partner participates and calls the activity standard seamanship. Indonesia can gain training and preserve ties with Beijing while insisting that it has endorsed no Chinese sovereignty claim. This is a diplomatic contest over normality. If more countries join China in activities near Taiwan, Beijing's operations become less isolated. If those same countries also support missile notification and crisis safeguards, they can cooperate with China without accepting all of its strategic preferences. Southeast Asian governments will keep looking for that space because they do not want to choose a single camp. There is an economic side to the artificial intelligence story as well. Lenovo reported a 43% rise in quarterly revenue, supported by demand for AI-capable computers, servers, and services. The result suggests that China's AI push is becoming an industrial cycle rather than remaining a consumer trend. Hardware, data center systems, and enterprise services create commercial scale that can support research and broader national capability. That overlap is why technology controls are so difficult to design. The same computing ecosystem can raise business productivity and strengthen cyber, surveillance, or military research. Very broad restrictions may encourage Chinese substitution and alienate trading partners. Very narrow restrictions may leave sensitive pathways open. Beijing's public message is that China supports inclusive global AI governance, while American controls divide the technology system and preserve advantage for a small group. Taken together, the missile dispute, Taiwan's resilience drills, adaptive cyber operations, regional naval cooperation, and Lenovo's growth are all arguments over the future baseline. China wants its tests, partnerships, and technology expansion treated as normal sovereign behavior. Its counterparts are trying to make notification, exposure, and preparedness normal responses. Watch the next Chinese launch, any repeat of the text-only drill, evidence of further adaptive intrusions, and whether other regional navies agree to operate near Taiwan. Thanks for listening. Stay curious, stay kind, and never let anyone convince you that asking questions is a security threat. For the written brief, visit restrictedhandling.substack.com.